All right, what's going on, you guys? Brian here with another recap video, and this is my AEW Dynamite recap for this week's episode. So let's just get right into this quick recap. We had Cody defeating Ortiz. Cody's attention was drawn a little bit by the appearance of Jake the Snake Roberts and Jake's new client, Lance Archer, who he had promised Cody he was going to bring in somebody to go after Cody. After the match, Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Jake Hager would appear on the Tron, and it would be revealed that they had beaten down severely Nick Jackson of the Young Bucks. In women's tag team action, AEW Women's World Champion Nyla Rose and Bea Priestley defeated Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander. After the match, Bea Priestley would make it very clear that she wants the AEW Women's Championship when she went after Nyla Rose. We had the Butcher, the Blade, and MJF defeating Jurassic Express in a six-man tag team match. We heard from Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. In an interview, she insulted the Salt Lake City, Utah fans. She then would be interrupted by Big Swole. She would then insult Big Swole, saying about her boyfriend, Cedric, not mentioning by name Cedric Alexander, and Big Swole made it clear that she's married, baby. Obviously, talking about Britt Baker's man, Adam Cole. Then we also heard from Christopher Daniels, who kind of made a parody video of the Dark Order's videos that they've done with the whole, are you tired of losing and stuff like that and joining the Dark Order, except this one was about the Dark Order stinks. We heard from AEW World Champion Jon Moxley. He did a sit-down interview with Jim Ross. Joey Janela and Private Party lost to the Death Triangle, the team of Pac and the Lucha Brothers. After the match, the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy would make the save. This would lead to a huge tag team match being announced for next week. The Lucha Brothers with Pac in their corner taking on the Best Friends with Orange Cassidy in their corner. They also announced for next week a huge six-man tag with some huge implications as it concerns the upcoming episode of Dynamite called Blood and Guts, with the War Games match that I know they're not calling it War Games, but they're calling it Blood and Guts. 2 rings enclosed by a steel cage, 5-on-5, happening on March 25th at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. The Inner Circle go against the Elite. And next week, in a 6-man tag team match, the Inner Circle will take on the Elite, and the winning team will have the advantage throughout that Blood and Guts matchup. They also talked about the rules of that match coming up, Blood and Guts. They said that 2 men will start for a 5-minute round. Then whoever has the advantage will send in their second man, and this and all this stuff. Basically like War Games in the WCW and WWE, and the only way to win, not by pinfall, but submission or surrender. So it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top next week with that advantage going into the following week. Speaking of the Elite and the Inner Circle, Hangman Page, one half of the AEW World Tag Team Champions, along with Kenny Omega, he teamed up with Dustin Rhodes, who had volunteered after the Inner Circle beat down Nick Jackson, to take on Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara, and they actually picked up the win. Hangman Page and Dustin Rhodes. Then afterwards, the beatdown continued. Kenny Omega tried to make the save. Cody tried to make the save. They were taken out. Then they tried to do what the Inner Circle did to Jon Moxley last week, trying to powerbomb him off, or trying to powerbomb Hangman Page off of the stage. However, Matt Jackson made the save and then kind of flipped the bird to Hangman Page. So obviously that's going to be interesting to see what happens with those two coming up at Blood and Guts, and how they can work together if there's still some friction between those two. But Dynamite wound up going off the air with the Inner Circle standing tall after Chris Jericho took out both Matt Jackson and Hangman Page with steel chair shots. So, all in all, I thought this was a decent show. I haven't watched NXT yet. I'll probably watch that tomorrow and have a recap of that and my thoughts on that show. But I thought this week's AEW Dynamite, I thought was good, was decent enough. So, with that being said, if you guys watched tonight's episode, let me know what you guys thought of it in the comments below. This has been my AEW Dynamite recap for this week's episode, or tonight's episode. As always, I am Brian, and thank you for watching.